I'm going to read a family statement that was written by Donna, Cindy's mom. On behalf of the family, we thank all of you for your support in seeking justice for our loved one, Cindy. It means a lot to us to see how many people across Canada have shown they care. We are very grateful that you're seeking justice. Thank you. My daughter, Cindy Ivy Gladue, was born July 23rd, 1974 in Athabasca, Alberta. Cindy was my only child for 5 years until my son Kevin was born. Cindy got jealous because she now had a brother. She wasn't the baby anymore. She had 2 more siblings, a brother Jeff and a sister Marilyn. Cindy was raised in Calling Lake for 9 years until I left Calling Lake and we moved to Edmonton, where Cindy, Kevin, Jeff, and Marilyn were raised by my husband, Lawrence McLeod, and myself. Living in Edmonton and close to my parents made Cindy happy because she was close to her grandma, who called her Shandy. Losing her grandma at 16 years old broke her heart because she was grandma's girl. Cindy made a lot of friends going to school. Cindy was close to her uncles and aunties. Cindy loved going on Facebook, chatting with her friends, listening to music, and watching her cooking shows. Cindy loved to cook and was a good cook too. When Cindy spent a night with the kids, she always cooked breakfast for me in the morning, even though I was not hungry. "Mom, you have to eat." That's what she always told me. I took her to bingo, but she didn't like it. Cindy said, "Mom, how can you sit here for 3 or 4 hours?" "Sorry, Mom, I don't like it." Cindy was a kind-hearted person who would help if she can help somehow. At the age of 21, Cindy had a baby girl. Her name is Brianne, born June 23rd, 1996. And two more girls, Brandy and Cheyenne. Cindy loved her girls so much. Later on in 2000, Cindy could not look after her girls because she was a single mom and had a hard time raising them, so I stepped in to help her. So I raised the girls myself. Cindy was thankful for what I did. That's what moms are for, to help your children. But no matter what Cindy did, her kids always came first. Cindy's life changed when she started to hang around with the wrong crowd. But what can you do? She was an adult. Cindy was very close to her brothers and sister. She would help her siblings if they needed help in some way. Cindy was happy when her sister had her own children, so now she was an auntie. Cindy had her ups and downs, but nothing seemed to bother her. She always said, "Life goes on, what can you do anyways?" Losing my daughter Cindy was the hardest thing I had to go through. Telling her brothers and sister was hard. Cindy's girls made it harder because that was their mom. Going to trial was a very hard time for me. When they found him not guilty, that was a shock. I wish I had more to say, but this is very hard for me.
It is a sad fact that the indigenous people all over our homelands suffer such indignity and injustice every day in the Canadian court system. For us, it's no secret for us. This is a cruel reality that we are forced to live with. What is even more cruel is how the courts, the justice system, and the politicians of this country have so carelessly ignored the plight of our missing and murdered women for so long. They have ignored our pleas, and they have ignored the truth, all while our people continue to suffer. It is because of their ignorance and their gross violation continue with any regard for human dignity, decency. They treat us as though we are not entitled to the same rights and protection as all of us human beings.
You know, it makes me wonder what our country is all about, what it's doing. What is the government doing? Are they trying to destroy us as people? You know, Cindy has a family. Cindy's a mother, a daughter, a sister, and auntie. She's a friend to a lot of people. She's also a human being, and an Indigenous woman that, like everybody, all the Indigenous women of this country that bring life into this world. The men, it's our mothers that put us on earth here. We have to do a better job in what we're doing, teaching our children how to respect, how to protect our women. We are protectors, not abusers.
I want to especially honor the courageous women, the Indigenous women who live in a country that is hostile to their very existence. The hostility is shown in every statistic you want to look at. The highest murder rate, the highest suicide rate, the least employed, everything has pointed to the fact that they don't want us here. But we're not going away. And I want to say that I have a resolution that was passed unanimously by the Institute for the Advancement of Aboriginal Women directors, who are all Aboriginal women, and signed by many. We're hoping that you'll all sign it and add our voice. The strongest voice we can have is the voices of you, men and women, the Canadian citizens of this country. Whereas the resolution is to seek justice for Cindy Gladue. Whereas the decision was made by the jury to exonerate Bradley Barton for the murder of Cindy Gladue, it violated the rights of any human being. And whereas the prejudice shown by the legal system towards Cindy Gladue in her life and in her death is totally unacceptable. And whereas the presentation of Cindy Gladue's body parts as evidence in the trial is blatant indecent interference in a dead body, and it is a criminal act. And just because it was done in a courtroom doesn't make it right. Therefore, we demand a full review of the criminal justice system as it pertains to the continued lack of understanding of the negative implications of this ruling has on all Aboriginal women in this country, in Canada. We demand a full review of the criminal justice system because this is only one piece of the discrimination that takes place every day, in every place, in every institution. We further demand that there be a creation of Aboriginal Women's Commission with full authority to counter the racism and prejudice as exists within the courts and Canadian society in order to stop the killings of Aboriginal women in Alberta and in Canada. I ask for your support on that resolution. It identifies that we're all together on this move to change society and to make it a good place to live. Because we want Canada to change, and there are good answers. It's just the denial of the existence of the murders of Aboriginal women and the opportunity that we have ourselves as individuals and ourselves as part of the Canadian society to change the attitudes and counter the discrimination which exists in every single institution, in the hospitals, in the educational system. Every place you look, there is discrimination that is allowed to exist and results in the deaths of our women.